I made iced tea because he begged for iced tea.
Her name is Ina Kenoyer. She is 47 years old. The man she is describing is Stephen Riley Jr., her partner of 13 years. At the moment she is describing, he was already dying. Stephen died of ethylene glycol poisoning, the active compound in automotive antifreeze, odorless, nearly colorless, and sweet, which is why, the moment she volunteers a line about the drink she made him, the detectives stop taking notes.
So you made iced tea?
Yeah.
By the time she says that line, three things are true. The autopsy has already found ethylene glycol in Stephen's blood. The toxicology has already found no alcohol. And her own neighbor has already told detectives Ina had talked about poisoning Stephen with antifreeze. Long before he died, Stephen Riley Jr. was 51 years old. He met Ina Kenoyer at an Easter buffet at a homeless shelter in Bellingham, Washington, in the spring of 2010. They moved to the North Dakota oil fields the following summer. 13 years later, in the autumn of 2023, he was closer to sober than he had been in decades. He had a weekend security job at the state fair. He had just obtained his first government-issued ID. On the Monday, his body arrived at the hospital in Bismarck. He had been planning to walk into a Papa Murphy's pizza shop and apply for a manager's job. Over Labor Day weekend, 2023, a man named Richard told Stephen he was flying into Minot to finalize an inheritance. 3 appointments, 3 no-shows. At the 2 o'clock appointment, in the parking lot of the charter airport, Stephen collapsed. His friends offered to call an ambulance. Twice, Ina said no. She told them he was having a heat stroke. They drove him home. He spent the rest of Sunday on a couch. He could not walk to the bathroom. He vomited into a plastic pitcher she placed beside him. For 12 hours, she did not call for help. An ambulance was called Monday afternoon. Stephen was transferred from Minot to Bismarck and died the following morning. The autopsy found his blood saturated with ethylene glycol. It found no alcohol at all, contradicting in a single line the entire account Ina had given on body camera to the paramedics at the scene. The case stopped being treated as a medical event. Ina was not arrested, she was invited. By the time she sits down in this room, detectives have spoken to more than a dozen people. They have the autopsy, they have the toxicology, they have the body cam. She does not know any of that, but she thinks she is here to help them build a case against Stephen's friends. In the apartment, investigators found gallon bottles of antifreeze in the garage. They also found ethylene glycol inside open beer bottles on the floor, inside a drinking glass on the counter, inside household cleaning bottles under the sink, at least 5 containers. Nothing to do with car maintenance. 4 people independently contacted Minot Police. A neighbor told detectives Ina had talked about poisoning Stephen with antifreeze. A friend saw Ina throwing his belongings onto the lawn the morning he collapsed. A third described the ambulance offers Ina refused. A fourth was with Ina in the ER when a doctor first said the word antifreeze and said Ina immediately started volunteering ways Stephen could have gotten into it by accident. The $30 million. Investigators traced the email chain. The lawyer did not exist. The uncle did not exist. The Swiss bank account did not exist. Ina Kenoyer killed her partner of 13 years for a fortune that was never going to arrive.
How much money was it?
It ended up, it was supposed to be 17 million
Okay.
and some odd hundreds.
Okay.
17,500,000, something like that.
Okay.
But with all the property sold off, it ended up being 37 million. And he wanted me to have a copy to make sure, if something ever happened to him. And he was reading that the money wasn't cursed or whatever. He's like, every single person that went for the Riley money over there,
Yeah.
even this 21-year-old, had passed away.
What do you mean? I guess the inheritance had been left for other people too, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, is it cursed? And people that go after it, are dying? He's like, I don't know, maybe. I was like, well, then don't go after it. How silly is that, you know? I don't know. I lost my phone. I don't know if I was pickpocketed or what, but the last picture I have of me and Steve was in that phone.
When did that happen?
Today's Wednesday?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Monday.
Okay.
Did I go? I can't remember if I walked down Monday.
What hotel are you working at?
I can't ever say it right.
Microtel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Microtel.
Okay. How long have you been working there?
Yesterday was my second day.
She lost her phone. She cannot remember the day, or the hotel, or whether she walked there. This is Ina's baseline memory. Hold it. It is going to matter in 30 minutes when the detective starts asking her for times.
So you and Steve were in a relationship?
Yep.
Okay. How long had you guys been together?
13 years.
Okay.
Easter.
Okay. Where did you guys meet?
Homeless shelter. At an Easter
In
buffet dinner.
in North Dakota? Or
Washington.
In Washington. Okay.
Bellingham, Washington.
Okay.
He moved first to Williston. I guess the guy that was running the shelter on the men's side told him about it and got him a ticket.
Okay. For like oil fields?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he never got a job. And so he started working for KFC.
Okay.
And then he sent me a ticket and pretty much asked me to marry him.
Listen to the warmth when she talks about where they met. This is the warmest she will describe him anywhere in this interview. In 40 minutes, in the same flat voice, she will suggest he killed himself.
So this lawyer reached out to him and said he's...
I guess. I don't even know how he found out about it.
Okay.
It just appeared, you know, and he showed it to me one day.
The letter.
Yeah. And he wanted me to have a copy to make sure, you know, if something ever happened to him.
From? Who was the family member?
God, without his phone. Marcus something Riley?
Okay. Brother or...
Uncle.
That was an uncle. Okay. Did he live
In Ireland?
Okay. Had he ever talked about Marcus before? Did he even know he had an uncle? Marcus?
I don't know.
Okay.
Honestly. Yeah.
And so how was he going to get the money? What was the plan?
Well, the lawyer guy wanted to give him to get a bank account.
The lawyer was...
Originally.
Okay, so he wanted
So he could
get a
just
bank
deposit it into
Okay.
his bank account.
Okay.
It couldn't be nobody else's bank account,
Sure.
according to the lawyer.
Okay.
A foreign lawyer, an estate she has never heard of, a Swiss bank account, a request to open a new bank account in the victim's name only. That's about 250,000 Americans fall for some version of this every year.
I was there saying maybe I shouldn't have said it was the Richard scam that's been going around, and he might have done it to himself, and that's what
Okay.
I was like, but he just went through that with his dad. His dad shot himself in the head with a shotgun. Face the fact that it was a scam.
A friend has told her in her own account that it's the Richard scam. It's been going around. The money isn't real. Her response? Stephen may have killed himself over it. Note the order those ideas arrive.
Not at all.
I emailed him a couple times when Steve asked me to, you know, can you tell him that I lost my phone or broke my phone? But the lawyer would not contact me back.
How long ago was that? Do you remember?
Pretty much when I told him he was in the hospital.
Okay.
It wouldn't go through Steve's phone. The emails wouldn't go through anymore. It was saying it never existed.
Okay.
The email vanished the moment Stephen was hospitalized because the person on the other end had no further use for him. The lawyer was a text file in a drawer that got closed when the mark stopped responding.
How much do you think you had to drink?
Almost a whole case.
From what time to what
There was
time?
3 beers left. I looked in the case.
And when you say case, you mean a 24 pack?
Yep.
Of what?
Cooler's Light.
Regular size cans?
Yeah, 12 ounce.
So he drank almost a whole case of beer from what time to what time?
I have no clue.
You don't know when he started drinking?
Really early, the birds were chirping and
Okay.
it was barely daylight.
The birds were chirping, barely daylight. Watch how the specificity collapses the moment the detective asks for numbers, and none of this happened. The toxicology sitting in a folder on the detective's side of the table shows no alcohol, not some, none. She is being asked to remember events that did not occur.
Oh, it wasn't heat stroke. I actually called the ambulance last time he was this coherent. But he accidentally grabbed on to a cup. It was when he was working on Jim's car. I ended up having to call the ambulance, and he kind of finally confessed that he accidentally drank some kind of fluid.
And that was about 6 months ago, you said?
It could have been longer.
Okay. Did he say what he might have accidentally drank?
I don't know. I don't remember. It had to be on the medical records.
Okay.
Somewhere in the year before his death, by Ina's own account, Stephen went to an ER after drinking an unidentified fluid from a garage. A woman who keeps no fluids in repurposed containers typically doesn't need to wonder which one her partner picked up.
What do you think is wrong with Steve at this point?
Huh?
Like, why? What do you think is wrong with Steve? Why is he sick?
I thought they were right. It was heat stroke.
Okay.
Because he wasn't puking yet.
She has now said some version of, "I begged him to go to the hospital a dozen times" in this interview. The friends who were at the airport have already told the detectives who was begging whom. She was the one refusing.
That's when Steve stripped down naked, pretty much.
Okay.
Half naked. And started crawling on his hands and feet to the bed. I was like, babe, just let me call the hospital. He's like, no, I just need some sleep. But I ain't drunk. So that's when I pretty much came up with one container with iced tea, one container with ice water, and one container for his pee. We bought 3 of them.
Okay.
One for ice water and one for juice. And,
Okay.
don't remember what the third one was supposed to be for, but
Okay.
iced tea. Wakes up, having to go pee.
Okay.
I bring him the urinal, he pee.
So he's communicating with
Yeah.
you. Okay.
And then I empty the pee out,
Mm-hmm.
and I give him the water jug at that point.
Okay.
Through the night of September 3rd into the morning of September 4th, Stephen could no longer walk to the bathroom. He could not stand up to get water. She watched this. For 12 hours, she did not pick up the phone.
Just a glass of water that I brought him, and his tea. I made iced tea because he begged for iced tea.
She has not been asked about drinks. She has not been asked about flavors. She volunteered it. Ethylene glycol is sweet. When a patient arrives at an ER with ethylene glycol poisoning, the first question for family is about sweet drinks in the last 24 hours. The detective has read the autopsy. He has been waiting for her to say it first.
So you made iced tea?
Yeah.
Watch what he does. No follow-up, no pressure. He repeats her own words and lets her confirm them. Now it is on the tape twice, from her, in the same 2 minutes.
I know you had said to me you thought Wes or Billy would do it.
Yeah.
Why would you think that?
What
would they-
nasty people.
Okay. But what?
Inheritance.
Okay.
Stealing his truck, because Billy's pretty much every time him and Lynn put Steve in jail, they actually stole stuff out of his truck. Or see Lynn more, and she wasn't even there.
Okay.
She's more of the I'll poison you type person, you know,
Okay.
than Billy. Billy will just wait until you go to sleep and then steal from you, right?
A person accusing someone of a specific crime names one person, a person deflecting names four, and she has introduced specifically the word poisoning from a woman who was not in the apartment.
So as far as you and Steve,
So that's why I'm thinking maybe Steve did it to himself because he couldn't face Wes, his sons, you know, that the inheritance wasn't real, it was a hoax. He finally realized it was a joke on him, or, you know.
When four names don't stick, she offers a fifth. Stephen, the man she described 90 minutes ago as devoted, getting clean, planning to marry in Ireland or Vegas, killed himself, she now suggests, because he couldn't face the possibility that the inheritance was exactly what she has told us, twice, that she knew it was.
If you left me anything, just give me a car. That's all I ask. And then give the rest to your mom and Cheryl, because I don't want to see it.
Under North Dakota law, 13 years of cohabitation is not a marriage. Ina is not Stephen's wife. The money, in her understanding, is going to his sons, his ex-wives, and his estranged sisters. The only person in that apartment leaving with nothing is her. The detective has already been told by her own friends that she knew it for months.
So I just have a lot of concerns here, okay, and I'm just going to be honest with you. You told the paramedics when they were there that morning or afternoon that he had been drinking till 5 in the morning, that he had been consuming alcohol. That's on body cam. Okay, you said he was drinking all day the day before and that he drank his last drink at 5 a.m. Okay, and now you're telling me
tea.
That's not what you say on this video, okay?
I want to see this video.
Okay.
She does not say that is not what I said. She asks to see it. That is the response of someone calculating damage.
Well, I'm not going to show you the body cam. I'm just telling you that that's what's on there. There's reports that Wes came to the house that morning, and you said that Steve was at the walk-in clinic. He wasn't at the walk-in clinic.
Steve didn't want to see Wes anymore.
Okay, but Steve wasn't at the walk-in clinic.
He was at the hospital.
He wasn't at the hospital. He wasn't anywhere yet. Because it's been verified. He wasn't when Wes was there, okay?
He just left with the ambulance when Wes showed up there.
That's not what's been reported to us. Wes was there prior to.
Yeah, the timestamps prove that.
The timestamps prove that. The detective is telling her the call logs and Wes's statements have been checked against each other. Her version does not fit.
I want a lawyer.
Okay, that's fine.
Am I being arrested?
Nope, you're not being arrested. We're just talking. So, but if you want a lawyer, we can stop talking right now. That's fine.
But I'm telling you the God honest truth. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I wish I was there. I wish I was with him every second of the day that day. I wish I watched every single, but I'm not his goddamn mom.
You asked for a lawyer, Ina, so we're just going to end this now. Okay.
She invoked her right to a lawyer. She kept talking anyway. The lawyer was a reflex. The talking is the pattern.
I'm not going to talk anymore. All right?
You guys are so unbelievable. Fucking serious.
This way, right here.
For 4 hours, she has been the one talking. The detectives have mostly let her. On the way out, her complaint is that they are the unbelievable ones. One detail is not on this tape. In a separate interview, detectives told Ina that North Dakota does not recognize common law marriage, that she was, legally, entitled to nothing. The affidavit describes what happened next in a single phrase. She went ballistic. That was the moment she realized, not that she had been caught. The body cam had told her that. The moment she realized she had killed a man she would not even be permitted to inherit a car from. Stephen Riley Jr. was 51 years old. He was not inheriting $30 million. He was not inheriting any money at all. He was about to start a weekend shift at a pizza place. He was getting clean. He had just obtained his first ID. Ina Kenoyer was arrested October 30th, 2023, Class A of felony murder, and she pleaded guilty in May 2024. On October 16th, 2024, she was sentenced to 50 years, 25 to serve, 25 suspended, 10 years of supervised probation on release. At sentencing, Stephen's sister, Stephanie Gonzalez, read a statement to the court. Her last line before sitting back down was this: "But lucky for you, the Department of Corrections doesn't serve antifreeze in your iced tea." If this kind of analysis is what you're looking for, subscribing means you'll see the next one. Check out our website, truecrimeshub.com, and subscribe to our newsletter now to receive our videos directly into your inbox. Thank you and stay safe.